Life constantly demands clarity. Every decision, every step we take hinges on our ability to think clearly. But the mind, like a pond, can become murky if we aren't careful. To see the world and ourselves clearly, we must first avoid certain pitfalls that cloud our thinking. Today, I want to share with you 3 things to avoid if you truly want clarity of thought. The first is overthinking the past. Our past is like a book we have already read, constantly reading it, dwelling on mistakes, or regretting choices only fills our mind with confusion and pain. The past teaches us lessons, yes, but it is not a place to live. Clear thinking requires letting go of what has already happened and focusing on the present moment where real action is possible. The second is worrying about the future. Anxiety about what might happen tomorrow, next month, or even years ahead paralyzes our mind. When we spend too much energy on uncertainties, we lose sight of what we can influence today. Clear thinking comes when we plan wisely, but do not obsess over outcomes beyond our control. The third is listening to unnecessary noise, opinions, gossip, and distractions that do not serve our higher purpose. Every day, we are bombarded with messages, both from people and media, that pull us in multiple directions. If we allow every external voice to influence us, we never find our inner compass. To think clearly, we must filter what we absorb and focus on what truly matters. Avoiding these 3 things is not always easy, but clarity of thought is the foundation of a meaningful life. It allows us to make better decisions, build stronger relationships, and live with peace and purpose. Remember, a clear mind is like a calm lake, reflective, deep, and capable of seeing the world as it truly is. The past is a powerful teacher. It holds our experiences, our mistakes, our triumphs, and even the moments we wish we could forget. But there is a subtle danger hidden within it, the danger of living in it. When we constantly replay old events in our minds, obsess over decisions we made, or dwell on opportunities we missed, our mental clarity begins to blur. The mind, when trapped in the past, loses the ability to respond effectively to the present moment. Imagine trying to navigate through a forest while constantly looking behind you. You will stumble, miss paths, and perhaps even go in circles. Similarly, when we are imprisoned by past thoughts, we are unable to act wisely in the present. Every human being has regrets. We all have moments we wish we could undo, or words we wish we hadn't spoken. And while reflecting on these moments can teach us valuable lessons, overthinking them is like drinking from a poisoned cup. We absorb more negativity than wisdom. The mind begins to carry unnecessary burdens, creating confusion and indecision. This is why clarity requires understanding the difference between reflection and rumination. Reflection is gentle and purposeful. It allows us to learn, grow, and improve. Rumination, on the other hand, traps us in cycles of what if and if only, leaving our mental energy depleted and our judgment clouded. Moreover, living in the past prevents us from recognizing the opportunities and choices present. in our lives today. Life is constantly flowing, moment by moment. Each present moment offers a chance to change, to grow, to connect, and to create. But if our mind is stuck on old memories, it cannot see the new paths opening before us. We might miss a conversation that could inspire us, a decision that could change our career, or a moment of kindness that could deepen a relationship. By clinging to the past, we rob ourselves of the power to engage fully with the present. It is also important to realize that the past, no matter how painful or joyous, has already happened. Nothing we do now can change it. The more we try to control or rewrite it in our minds, the more energy we waste on something beyond our influence. Instead, the lessons of the past should be acknowledged, absorbed, and then set aside like a treasured book on a shelf. When we carry only the wisdom and leave behind the emotional clutter, we free our minds to see clearly, make better decisions, and act with confidence. Finally, overthinking the past often distorts reality. Our memories are not perfect recordings. They are colored by our emotions, biases, and selective attention. By repeatedly revisiting old events, we risk magnifying regrets and diminishing achievements, creating a distorted version of our history. This distortion clouds our judgment, making it harder to think objectively about the present and plan effectively for the future. Therefore, clarity of thought begins with letting go. It begins with understanding that the past is a guide, not a jail. By learning from it, accepting it, and then releasing it, we create a mental space where insight, creativity, and peace can flourish. The mind that is free from the weight of the past becomes a lens through which life appears vivid, opportunities are clear, and decisions are made with confidence. The future is often painted as a vast, mysterious landscape full of possibilities, uncertainties, and what-ifs. Naturally, our minds are drawn to it. We plan, we prepare, and we dream. But sometimes, this focus crosses the line and transforms into worry. Worrying about the future can consume our mental energy like a fire that keeps burning even when it is no longer needed. It clouds our judgment, limits our ability to act effectively in the present, and, ironically, rarely solves the problems we fear. Every moment we spend imagining worst case scenarios or fretting about outcomes that may never happen is a moment taken away from the life unfolding right in front of us. The mind has a remarkable ability to predict, to anticipate, and to calculate probabilities. But it also has a tendency to exaggerate and dramatize. When we dwell excessively on the unknown, the brain magnifies risks and potential failures, creating mountains out of molehills. Suddenly, small challenges appear insurmountable, decisions feel overwhelming, and the present moment loses its clarity. This is why worrying about the future is not only unproductive, it actively undermines our capacity to think clearly. We forget that the future is not a fixed path, but a collection of choices we make in the present. By wasting energy on fear, we fail to make the decisions that would guide us toward the outcomes we desire. The Planning for the future is different from worrying about it. Planning is grounded in awareness and action. It is constructive. Worrying is ungrounded, repetitive, and exhausting. The person who plans may list steps to achieve a goal, anticipate obstacles, and prepare solutions. The person who worries endlessly, however, replays the same scenarios without taking any meaningful action, generating stress instead of solutions. The difference lies in control. Planning channels energy into what we can influence, while worrying drains energy over what we cannot. Interestingly, excessive worry also clouds our perception of the present. When we are preoccupied with what if questions, we fail to see opportunities right before us. We may hesitate to take bold steps, avoid risks that could lead to growth, or fail to notice simple joys because our minds are busy racing ahead. Life is happening in the now, but our attention is trapped in a future that doesn't yet exist. Mental clarity comes when we anchor ourselves in the present while keeping the future in thoughtful perspective. Not in constant fear. Worrying about the future also impacts our emotional and physical well-being. Stress hormones rise, sleep is disturbed, and decision-making becomes impaired. A mind burdened by worry struggles to focus, to innovate, and to act with confidence. On the other hand, a mind that balances preparation with trust and acceptance is resilient, clear, and capable of navigating life's uncertainties with wisdom. Ultimately, clarity of thought requires recognizing that the future is shaped by what we do today. By acting consciously in the present, by preparing thoughtfully, and by letting go of obsessive fears, we free our minds from unnecessary clutter. We gain the mental space to think clearly, make better choices, and move toward the future with confidence rather than dread. The future is important, but it is not a prison. It is a garden to cultivate. And the seeds we plant now, with a calm and focused mind, are what will grow into the life we hope for. Every day, we are surrounded by a constant stream of information. Messages, notifications, news, opinions, and advice come at us from every direction. Some of it is useful, some of it is necessary, but much of it is simply noise, distractions that have the power to cloud our thinking. When we allow every external voice to influence our mind, we lose clarity, direction, and sometimes even our sense of self. Clear thinking requires the courage to distinguish between what serves our growth and what merely fills our mind with clutter. External noise comes in many forms. It can be the unsolicited advice from friends or colleagues, the gossip that spreads in workplaces or social circles, or the barrage of headlines that scream for our attention. Each of these has a subtle way of impacting our decisions, shaping our emotions, and distracting us from what truly matters. Often, without even realizing it, we begin to adopt other people's fears, judgments, and priorities as our own. Our decisions are no longer made from our own wisdom, but are influenced by the collective noise surrounding us. The mind that is constantly reacting to outside voices loses the ability to pause, reflect, and think clearly. The challenge is that external noise often feels urgent, even when it is irrelevant. A text message demanding a response, a trending opinion on social media, or even a casual comment can pull us out of focus. We may find ourselves justifying choices, defending decisions, or worrying about perceptions instead of engaging with what truly aligns with our values and goals. This constant distraction not only wastes energy, but also erodes our confidence, because we begin to doubt our own judgment and capabilities. To cultivate clarity, it is essential to create mental boundaries. This does not mean isolating ourselves from the world or ignoring advice altogether, but rather learning to filter the voices we allow into our mind. Not every opinion requires our attention. Not every problem needs our energy. By consciously choosing what to absorb and what to let go, we preserve the mental space necessary for deep thinking, creativity, and conscious decision making. The mind becomes like a well-tended garden where only the seeds we intentionally plant are allowed to grow, rather than being overrun by weeds of distraction. External noise can also trigger unnecessary emotions: fear, envy, frustration, or comparison. When we measure ourselves against others or become entangled in opinions, we lose focus on our own path. I flew for thinking comes when we can step back, observe the noise without being consumed by it, and act from our own inner wisdom rather than reacting impulsively. It is not about becoming indifferent to the world, but about maintaining a centered, calm mind that can process information without being overwhelmed. Ultimately, the ability to think clearly in a noisy world is a skill that requires practice and discipline. By being mindful of what we consume, protecting our mental space, and prioritizing our own values and insights, we create a mind that is focused, resilient, and capable of making wise decisions. The world will always be full of voices, but clarity belongs to those who choose to listen selectively and act thoughtfully. Clear thinking is the foundation upon which every meaningful decision and every step of personal growth is built. Without it, even the most brilliant ideas can falter, and even the most sincere efforts can go astray. Our mind is constantly processing countless thoughts, emotions, and stimuli, and if we do not cultivate clarity, we risk being guided by confusion, impulsiveness, or external influence rather than our own inner wisdom. Clear thinking allows us to navigate life with purpose, confidence, and insight. At its core, clear thinking means the ability to see situations as they truly are, not as we fear, hope, or imagine them to be. It allows us to assess options objectively, understand consequences, and make decisions that align with our long-term goals rather than short-term desires or societal pressures. Without clarity, we may act based on misinformation, assumptions, or fleeting emotions, which can lead to regret and stagnation. The mind that is clouded by clutter struggles to prioritize, evaluate, and discern the path that leads to growth. Effective decision making is deeply connected to clarity of thought. Every choice we make, whether in our career, relationships, or personal life, has consequences. When the mind is clouded by doubt, distraction, or bias, our decisions may be reactive rather than deliberate. Clear thinking empowers us to pause, reflect, and analyze before taking action. It transforms decision making from a stressful guessing game into a conscious, intentional process. When we think clearly, we are not merely reacting to circumstances, we are shaping them. Moreover, personal growth is impossible without mental clarity. Growth requires self-awareness, the ability to understand our strengths, weaknesses, motivations, and values. But self-awareness is only possible when the mind is not overwhelmed by noise, regrets, or anxieties. Clarity allows us to identify habits that hinder progress, recognize patterns in our behavior, and take deliberate steps toward improvement. It turns experiences, both positive and negative, into lessons rather than distractions. The mind that is clear is receptive, adaptable, and capable of evolving continuously. Another aspect of clear thinking is emotional balance. A mind clouded by anger, fear, or resentment cannot evaluate situations fairly or act wisely. When we cultivate clarity, we create the space to respond rather than react. We can make decisions rooted in reason, compassion, and foresight instead of being driven solely by emotion. This not only improves the quality of our choices, but also strengthens our relationships, enhances problem solving, and reduces stress. Clarity of thought also enhances creativity and innovation. A focused mind can connect ideas, see patterns, and discover solutions that would remain hidden in a cluttered, distracted mind. When we think clearly, we gain the freedom to imagine, plan, and implement our vision effectively. It allows us to act with confidence, knowing that our choices are informed and intentional. Ultimately, clear thinking is not just a mental exercise, it is a way of life. It is the skill that transforms challenges into opportunities, mistakes into lessons, and uncertainty into growth. By nurturing clarity, we equip ourselves with the ability to live consciously, act decisively, and continually evolve into the best version of ourselves. In a world filled with distractions, opinions, and complexities, clarity of thought is the compass that guides us to a meaningful, purposeful life. Planning is one of the most powerful tools we have for creating a meaningful and purposeful life. It provides structure, direction, and a sense of control over the steps we take toward our goals. Without a plan, we drift like a boat in the ocean, subject to currents, waves, and external forces beyond our control. A well-thought-out plan gives us clarity about what we want, how to achieve it, and the resources we need to move forward. But planning, while necessary, comes with a caution. Obsession with outcomes can blind us, distort our thinking, and drain our energy. When we focus solely on the end result, we start measuring every step by whether it brings us closer to a specific outcome. The joy of the journey, the lessons hidden in challenges, and the nuances of growth can all be lost. Life is dynamic, and circumstances are rarely predictable. By fixating on outcomes, we resist the natural flow of change. trying to control things that are beyond our influence. This creates unnecessary stress and anxiety, and paradoxically, it can make achieving our goals even more difficult. The mind that is obsessed with outcomes becomes rigid, reactionary, and clouded by fear of failure, making it harder to think clearly. True planning is about preparation, not preoccupation. It involves setting goals, identifying potential obstacles, and creating flexible strategies while remaining open to adjustments. The emphasis is on process, on cultivating habits and systems that lead to progress, rather than fixating on a single endpoint. When we focus on the steps rather than just the result, we allow ourselves to respond thoughtfully to challenges, learn from experiences, and make informed decisions. Clear thinking thrives in this mindset because it is no longer dominated by fear, expectations, or imagined pressures. Another reason obsession with outcomes clouds clarity is that it shifts our attention away from the present. When we are constantly projecting into the future, worrying whether everything will align perfectly, we fail to engage fully with what is happening now. Opportunities, relationships, and insights that are available in the present moment may pass us by unnoticed. Planning grounded in clarity, on the other hand, keeps us anchored in the present while keeping the future in view. It allows us to act deliberately and respond effectively to each moment, making progress steadily without being overwhelmed by uncertainty. Furthermore, obsession with outcomes often leads to comparing ourselves with others. We measure our success by someone else's achievements, social standards, or imagined ideals, which breeds dissatisfaction, stress, and indecision. Clear thinking requires us to focus inward, assess our own path, and make decisions aligned with our values and goals rather than external validation. By doing so, we cultivate confidence, resilience, and mental clarity. Ultimately, planning is an instrument for empowerment, not a source of stress. When we plan without obsession, we create a roadmap for action, maintain focus on what we can control, and develop the patience to navigate uncertainty. Obsessing over outcomes, however, is like trying to control the wind while sailing. It only frustrates and exhausts us. Clarity emerges when we balance preparation with presence, effort with acceptance, and intention with flexibility. By mastering this balance, we can think clearly, act wisely, and move steadily toward our goals while remaining at peace with the journey itself. Living in the present is perhaps one of the most profound and overlooked keys to thinking clearly and living fully. Many of us move through life with our minds scattered, partly in the regrets of yesterday, partly in the anxieties of tomorrow. In doing so, we miss the richness of the moment we are actually experiencing. The present is not just a point on the timeline. It is the only space where action, growth, and transformation truly happen. When we embrace the present, we gain clarity, focus, and the power to act consciously rather than react unconsciously. When we live in the past or the future, our mind becomes cluttered with thoughts that are often irrelevant to the immediate choices before us. In the regrets about what could have been and worries about what might come distort our perception of reality. They create emotional noise, cloud judgment, and sap our energy. But the present moment, when fully experienced, is a sanctuary of clarity. Here we can see situations as they are, free from the shadows of what has already passed or what might happen. This clarity allows us to respond to challenges intelligently, to recognize opportunities, and to make decisions aligned with our goals and values. Living in the present also strengthens our ability to focus. When we are fully engaged with the task at hand, our mind is not pulled in multiple directions by distractions or hypothetical scenarios. Attention becomes a laser, allowing us to notice details, solve problems effectively, and perform with excellence. The mind that is anchored in the present is sharper, more observant, and less prone to confusion or error. Even simple daily decisions, when made with full awareness, can have a profound impact on our overall clarity and direction in life. Moreover, the present is where conscious action transforms intentions into results. Planning and preparation are important, but without acting in the now, plans remain ideas, and potential remains untapped. Every action we take today shapes our future, and every mindful choice contributes to our growth and fulfillment. By living in the present, we bridge the gap between thought and action, vision and reality. We become active participants in our own lives rather than passive observers, drifting along with circumstances. Another aspect of embracing the present is emotional resilience. When we dwell on past mistakes or fear the future, we give power to emotions like regret, guilt, or anxiety, which cloud our thinking. The present allows us to observe our emotions without being dominated by them. We can acknowledge feelings, learn from them, and then redirect our focus to constructive action. This emotional clarity strengthens our decision making, enabling us to think rationally while remaining empathetic and aware. Living in the present also enhances our relationships and interactions. When we are fully present with others, we listen attentively, communicate clearly, and connect deeply. This presence removes misunderstandings, reduces conflict, and fosters trust. A mind engaged in the now is more compassionate, patient, and understanding, which not only improves relationships, but also promotes inner peace and mental clarity. Ultimately, clear thinking thrives in the present because the present is the only reality we can influence. The past is gone and the future is uncertain, but the present is where life unfolds, decisions are made, and growth occurs. By practicing mindfulness, embracing each moment fully, and grounding ourselves in the now, we cultivate a mind that is calm, focused, and capable of conscious action. Living in the present is not merely a habit, it is the key to clarity, wisdom, and a life of purpose. A clear mind is often compared to a calm lake, and for good reason. Imagine standing by a lake on a still morning. The water is so serene that it mirrors the sky, the trees, and the mountains with perfect accuracy. Every detail is visible, every reflection sharp and true. No ripples distort the image, and nothing hides beneath the surface. This is exactly what a clear mind can achieve. It reflects reality without distortion, perceives situations as they truly are, and enables us to respond with wisdom, insight, and balance. When our mind is cluttered, like a lake disturbed by wind or thrown rocks, reflections are distorted. Thoughts become confused, perceptions biased, and judgments clouded. We may see situations as worse or better than they are, overreact to minor challenges, or misinterpret people's intentions. Decisions made from such a mind are often reactive, emotional, or short-sighted. Just as a choppy lake cannot provide a clear reflection of its surroundings, a mind overwhelmed by distractions, regrets, and fears cannot perceive reality accurately. Clarity of mind, like calm water, requires intentional effort. It is cultivated by releasing unnecessary burdens, let go of past mistakes, minimize anxiety about the future, and filter out external noise. Meditation, mindfulness, reflection, and conscious self-awareness are tools that help still the ripples of the mind. When we consistently practice these, we create an inner environment where thoughts flow gently rather than violently, allowing us to observe life objectively rather than react impulsively. The calmer the mind, the truer its reflections, and the more precise its understanding of reality. A clear mind also enables deep insight. Just as a clear lake allows one to see not only the surface but also the depths, a calm mind provides the capacity to understand both superficial and deeper truths. We can discern patterns, anticipate outcomes, and recognize opportunities that might otherwise remain hidden. The depth of understanding that comes from mental clarity is unmatched because it is not clouded by bias, fear, or unnecessary judgment. This allows us to navigate life with confidence, making choices that align with our values and long-term goals. Moreover, a clear mind promotes emotional balance, just as a calm lake is unaffected by passing clouds. A mind that is still is not easily disturbed by fleeting emotions, criticism, or external circumstances. We respond to challenges with composure rather than panic, approach conflicts with empathy rather than anger, and make decisions with rationality rather than impulse. This emotional clarity strengthens our relationships, our work, and our overall well-being, allowing us to lead a life that is thoughtful, intentional, and grounded. Finally, a mind like a calm lake inspires trust and respect, not only from ourselves but from others. People naturally gravitate toward those who exhibit clarity, composure, and insight. When our mind is still, our actions reflect consistency and wisdom, and our presence exudes stability and confidence. Others feel safe and supported around us, knowing that our reflections are true and not distorted by unnecessary distractions or biases. Ultimately, cultivating a clear mind is not a one-time effort, but a lifelong practice. It requires discipline, awareness, and conscious effort to release clutter, quiet distractions, and embrace presence. When we do, our mind becomes like a calm lake, reflecting truth with clarity. perceiving situations as they truly are, and guiding us to act wisely and live purposefully. In a world full of noise, confusion, and constant movement, a clear mind is the rare treasure that allows us to see, think, and act with profound clarity and peace. Avoiding the three major pitfalls: fixation on the past, anxiety about the future, and unnecessary external noise, is perhaps the single most important step toward cultivating mental clarity and living a purposeful life. Each of these pitfalls acts like a layer of fog over our mind, preventing us from seeing things clearly, making sound decisions, and responding effectively to life's challenges. When we free ourselves from these mental burdens, the mind becomes calm, focused, and capable of perceiving reality as it truly is. This clarity is not just a mental state. It is the foundation for inner peace, meaningful action, and lasting happiness. Fixation on the past keeps us trapped in memories that no longer serve us. We may ruminate over mistakes, regrets, or lost opportunities, believing that dwelling on them will somehow prepare us for the future. In reality, overemphasis on the past drains our energy and clouds our judgment. A mind anchored in what has already happened cannot engage fully with the present or make effective plans for the future. By consciously letting go of what cannot be changed, we free our mental space, allowing ourselves to see the present moment clearly, act decisively, and embrace opportunities without hesitation or fear. Anxiety about the future is another major obstacle to clear thinking. Worrying about what might happen tomorrow, next month, or even years from now creates a mental storm that distorts perspective and weakens decision making. It is human to plan and prepare, but obsession over potential outcomes creates fear, stress, and indecision. The mind consumed with future uncertainties cannot respond intelligently to the challenges of today. By focusing on what is within our control, taking deliberate steps, and accepting that not everything can be predicted or managed, we regain clarity, strengthen our confidence, and create a foundation for purposeful action. External noise, opinions, distractions, and unnecessary influences can subtly yet powerfully cloud our judgment. Every day, we are exposed to an overwhelming flood of information and advice, not all of which is relevant or helpful. Listening to every voice or reacting to every stimulus can leave the mind fragmented and exhausted. By learning to filter external inputs, focusing on what aligns with our values, and tuning out distractions, we create an environment where the mind can think clearly, process information accurately, and act intentionally. A mind free from noise is capable of deep insight, creativity, and wisdom. When we avoid these three pitfalls, something remarkable happens. Mental clarity emerges. Thoughts become organized rather than chaotic. Decisions become intentional rather than reactive. And our perception of life becomes accurate rather than distorted. This clarity fosters inner peace because we are no longer fighting battles with the past, worrying about uncertainties, or overwhelmed by external pressures. Peace, in turn, allows us to approach life with patience, composure, and confidence. Moreover, avoiding these pitfalls enables purposeful living. Purpose is not simply having goals, it is living in alignment with our values and taking deliberate, conscious action toward meaningful outcomes. When our mind is clear, we can focus on what truly matters, recognize opportunities, and invest energy in actions that lead to growth and fulfillment. Clarity transforms every moment into a chance to live intentionally, every decision into a step toward our true potential. In essence, the practice of avoiding past fixation, future anxiety, and unnecessary noise is not a restriction, it is a liberation. It frees the mind from clutter, strengthens focus, and opens the door to a life of clarity, peace, and meaningful achievement. By consciously applying this practice, we cultivate the mental clarity necessary to navigate the complexities of life, make wiser decisions, and live with purpose, joy, and balance.